everyone. My name is Eileen Liu, and I'll be talking about what's new with Streamlit and Snowflake. I'm a product manager on the Streamlit team, and super excited to be here meeting our customers in person. I see there are folks with late flights still sitting here to listen to the session, so that's great. If you see me running around the conference or walking back to the palace soaked in sweat, please stop me and say hi, or maybe later at the airport. So in this session, we will be, since it's a short session, only 20 minutes, we'll be focused on doing the demo. If there is a little bit more time at the end, I'll be showcasing some really awesome real apps built by our private preview customers. And just a quick introduction to Streamlit. For folks who don't know what Streamlit is, it's a super user-friendly Python library for use to build a really nice UI front end on top of your data. And now we are running natively in Snowflake, which is super awesome because you get to write your code in Streamlit and Python, but Snowflake will handle the rest of the data security, data governance, and RBAC, and all that, which I'll show you in a little bit. Now let me switch over to the demo. To start, I will show you a few Streamlit components just to get everyone to the same stage. You'll see how it's really easy to quickly iterate on your Streamlit app. So I'm in my Snowside editor, and let me give this app a title first. So using the st.title component, I can do something like, let's say, hello, Snowflake Summit. And I love emojis, so I'm going to add a little emoji here. And now I'm going to click the Run button, or I can hit the keyboard shortcut to run the app that will reflect the changes that I just made. So let's do that. Oops. Waking the app up. This is a feature that we designed. Ooh. This is, let me see, wave. Let's try that again. Ooh, we've got a title up in our app. Now let's work with some data. Here, as you can see, I've got some dummy data in a data frame, 3 columns, apples, bears, and cats. Let's just put that up on the app first. We've got the data up. Now, I can't really do anything with this table, the cell values, just yet, because the st.write component only reads from the data frame. However, if you want to allow the users to interact with the cell values, you can use our new data editor component. So I'll do experimental data editor and rerun the app. So with this component, I can now actually change the values in the data frame directly. And I'll show you in just a little bit how this can be really useful. Cool. We've got our data up. What about visualizing the data? We've got a lot of different components for it, but let's just do line chart, chart data. Let's do maybe bar chart as well. I like how it's giving me autocomplete, exactly what I need for a live demo. So I'm going to run the app again, and you'll see charts are up. It's really easy to change the layout of the charts as well if you don't like this layout. So what I can do is I can put them side by side right next to each other. So just using the st.columns component. Sorry, 1 second. Forgot to move this line over here. And then let's move the bar chart line of code to here. And then run the app. They're side by side next to each other. And if I want my first chart to be twice as wide as the second chart, it's also really easy to do. So just assigning a ratio to the 2 charts. Now the first chart is wider. Let me comment out this raw data part to give us a little bit more space to work with. And we can even put the charts under tabs. And you can click between them. They don't have to show up at the same time. Cool. Another really popular widget that I want to show you is st.form. And you probably guessed it, it provides you a form interface. And here is just a really simple example. I can type something here. Let's just say, hi, Eileen is super excited, can't type, to be here. And I can use the sliders here, slider number 1, slider number 2. And when I click the multiply button, it'll write out whatever I put in here and repeat it by the number of times that I selected here. So let's see that. Multiply. Hi, Eileen is super excited to be here. And I can adjust the sliders and let it rerun. Cool. The last component that I want to show you in this first demo is you can also put up a map in your app if you want. So this is a map. This is a city called Taicang, which is my hometown where I am from. If you zoom out a little bit, you'll see that it's close to Shanghai, probably a better known city for most folks. So what I'm showing you here is only a very small subset of what you can do with Streamlit. On the open web, right, in just the last 28 days, we've got over 130,000 active apps. And if you want more inspirations, you can come to our new app galleries page at streamlit.io. We've got a lot of things, a lot of examples here, and these are all open source apps. So you can check out the source code to learn how other people are building with Streamlit. And we've got a trending section, LLM apps, of course. So check out this webpage if you need more ideas. Now, let me come back to my demo screen and show you how it's really easy to create a Streamlit app in Snowflake. So if Streamlit is enabled in your account, just come to the Streamlit app tab and then click the plus button here. Give your app a name, pick a warehouse, which will provide the compute resources for your app, and then choose a location. My create dialog is completely auto-filled because I've set up my defaults. Now, once I click the create button, I will be directly dropped into the editing session, and I can start writing my code immediately. So let's do that. I'm in my editor, and this is just some sample code that we provide to get you started. But you can write your code immediately. There's no setting up a machine, configuring your environment, creating files, or anything like that. We want you to focus on you writing the code on top of your data, and Snowflake will handle the rest. OK? Cool. Let me walk you through a more realistic example of how Streamlit uses Streamlit to solve problems. So this is a simplified version of how our team used Streamlit. And let me click this to wake up our app. So as you probably know, we are in private preview. And as a product team, we would love to understand how our customers are doing, what kind of apps they're building, what they like or dislike about using Streamlit and Snowflake, what are some of the things that we still need to keep working on and improve. So let's just say that in a super, super simplified, reduced version of the world, we would like to keep track of two things. Part one, our customers' product usage. And part two, what kind of features are our customers asking for? So for part A, Streamlit and Snowflake usage, we've got a lot of data in our system. Okay, I think that's also probably the case for a lot of you here. We've got things like how many active number of users there are, how much time do people spend on our apps, and so on. So we can visualize these metrics to give us a quantitative perspective on what's going on. However, as you can see in my code, I will just be working with some dummy data for companies A, B, C, D, and E. But in reality, I will be working with a lot more customers, right? And I don't want to be putting up the metrics for each single one of them because that'll look really messy. Or if I create a chart for each company, then my app will be very, very long and probably not going to be performant. So this is where the data editor component that I mentioned earlier comes in really handy. So let me uncomment this part of the code and rerun the app. Now, with this data editor component, remember I said that you can directly change the cell values in your data frame. Now, I can select the companies that I'm interested in. So let's say I want to see the active users metric for company B and C. So that gives me the metric charts. And I can switch to the other metric. For example, time spent shows me that. And maybe for time spent, I want to see how company E compares to company B and C. So really, what we're doing in the code is super simple. This is our initial data frame, doing some transformations here. And we simply added a column called charts. And we set this column to take a Boolean value, which will then render as these checkboxes in the app. And now you can, of course, build on top of whether the checkbox is true or false to control what shows up in the chart, which is really nice. OK, let me move on to part B, feature requests. So like I said, we would love to keep track of our customers' feature requests. We're going to use this information later on to help plan and prioritize our roadmap. And to do that, I would like to store all of this information in a Snowflake table so that all of my customer data is in one place and nothing is floating around in separate systems. Prior to the session, of course, I have created a table already. So this is my table called test table, stored in the Streamlit Apps database, demo apps schema. And let me just run this SQL query to show what this table looks like. Ooh. Very simple table, just one column for now called company. And we've got company A, B, C, D, E again. And the question is, how do I link this table to my app here so that anyone on my team, I'm not the only person talking to customers. A lot of people on my team talk to customers. How do we enable anyone talking to customers to use the same app to keep track of customer requests? Now, it's really simple. The first thing that we're going to do is, and we've already actually done that, is import the Snowpark library and then create a session so that now you can call things like session.table on your table. So this is the line of code, session.table on this table that I was showing you in worksheet. You can see this is the same table. And we can add columns to it. So let's just say that I want to add 2 columns for now, feature request number 1 and feature request number 2. 2 columns. Now people can use this table here because, again, it's wrapped up in a data editor component, so you can directly write into the table. Let's say that company A wants Python package picker. And they've also asked for more templates, please. And by the way, recently we've shipped the Python package picker. So if you come up here, you can use this little UI here to find all the Python packages that are supported in our Snowflake Anaconda channel and add it to your Streamlit app. Cool. And let's say for company B, I don't know, I love emojis, so I'm just going to pick a couple of emojis here. Now, once I click the update button, all of these, whatever I put in here, will be written back to the Snowflake table. And let's see how that works. Click update, wrote to Snowflake successfully. Just show you that this actually worked. I'm not faking anything. Let's come back to the worksheet and run this again. Hopefully this works. If not, I'll ask Tyler on our team to come up and crack jokes for the audience. Boom, the table has been updated. Super simple, super easy. So data editor plus the write back capability really allows your user to interact and manage your data in Snowflake. Now, the best part that I love about writing Streamlit apps in Snowflake is I can really easily tap into all the existing data utilities and data layers in Snowflake. So as an example, just last week, I came across this external function utility that's set up by our IT team. I don't know how to set up an external function myself. I heard it's complicated. But luckily, it's already in Snowflake. And what this external function does is that it'll send people Slack messages. So here is the external function called IT Slack, and it's stored in the IT database IT UDF schema. So again, just calling the function by its fully qualified name, I can pass in, this is my own Slack ID, and I'm going to send myself a message, feature request updated, whenever someone uses this app to update to update this feature request table. Now, let me show you that this actually works, and just making sure that my Slack notification is on. Cool. Just rerunning the app. And now, let me click update again. Cool, we've got a spinner going on here. It's going to take slightly longer because it needs to send out a request to a third-party API. But assuming the Wi-Fi works, woo! We've got a Slack notification. Of course, this is just a really simple example. In reality, you can build much fancier things. You can send batch notifications if you want. You can make this message a dynamic message instead of a static message. So once you are done with the app, you can also share it with other people. Click the share button. And you can add the roles in your account that you want to share with me. For example, I'm just going to share this app with the public role so that everyone in my account now have access to the app. Notice how the public role only has the view-only permission on the app, meaning that they cannot change code or anything, but they will be able to use the app. So that's my demo, and I hope that I have shown that it's really simple to create a Streamlit app, quickly iterate on it, and also share your app with your stakeholders in just one single click. Now, I see that we have only 2 minutes left. Let me share some customer examples. First up, we have an example of an admin tool from NTT Data Japan. They are a Snowflake A-Lead service partner and one of the largest IT consulting companies in the world. They built this app called Warehouse Check. I hope I pronounced that right. But it literally means that it's a warehouse check app built for their admin who need to keep a close eye on everything related to their warehouse. So this app has now become a one-stop shop for their account admin to check out things like their warehouse setup and configurations. Unfortunately, my Japanese is not good enough to translate every single detail on the app. They can also navigate. Let me use the slider here. Navigate to the other pages to check out things like their usage statistics, performance statuses, and how many credits are being consumed by each warehouse. And I'll also show you an example of a what-if analysis. So this is an example from AppFolio, which is a cloud-based technology platform for the real estate industry. So their finance team wants to understand how certain key business driver will impact the company's annual revenue. However, prior to using Streamlit, they were doing things the old-fashioned way. They were using spreadsheets with a bunch of formulas in it. But the challenges were that, first of all, the analysts might really easily, accidentally override the formulas, sometimes without even knowing it. And secondly, in a spreadsheet, it's not so convenient to make multiple metric changes at the same time. So they turned to their data team who built this app for them. Now, let me pause this app or go back a little bit. You can see that using this app, the analysts can change the inputs values in the left-hand sidebar here. And then the app will run the forecasting model and tell you, hey, how much more or less the company will be able to make based on the inputs you provided. And one thing to notice, I know that we're out of time, just want to highlight this one thing, that is it clear? Yeah, the columns from May, going back. The columns from May 2023 all the way to December 2023 were actually ad hoc inserted into the table because the user specified that this is the time period that I want to run my forecasting model on. And if the user changes it to a different time period, the app will rerun and give you the result on that time period. So as the AppFolio data team puts it, compared to the traditional BI tools, Streamlit provides much more flexibility when it comes to handling user inputs and dynamically changing the layout of the data. I know that we are out of time, so I assume that I'm being kicked off the stage soon. But just to wrap things up, we are in private preview. If you are on AWS and if you don't use Private Link, please reach out to your account team and they can help enable Streamlit and Snowflake for you. If you're on Azure and GCP, once we go to GA, that's our next big focus. You'll be able to use Streamlit as well. But yeah, that's my presentation for today. Thank you so much for staying here on Thursday afternoon, last day of Summit. Thank you so much.